Hey, awesome people! Welcome to another episode of SewAddicts. Hey guys, so for this tutorial we're going to be making a corset belt. So as you can see from the beginning of this video, you might have an idea of what a corset belt actually looks like. So it's basically a spin off an actual corset, which if you don't know, I like to refer to a corset as like a waist cincher from hell, because it basically cinches your waist and makes everything look flattering. So the corset belt is actually an accessory that's been trending, I think, for a year or two maybe now, and it's kind of coming back in now. We're going into the fall. It's like a nice fall accessory that you can wear over your clothing, so it looks really nice and flattering. So this tutorial is going to be showing you guys step by step how to make this corset belt, and guess what, you can design it however you want. I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that later on in this video. I'm super excited about this tutorial and I hope you guys are too. If you're new to my channel, welcome. It's so nice to have you here. If you haven't hit the subscribe button already, please make sure to scroll down at the bottom of this giant screen to hit the subscribe button, and let's just jump right into it. So just jumping right into the materials we need, you want to get a ½ yard of denim fabric. You also want to get a ½ yard of interfacing as well. We're also going to be using appliques, which you can pretty much get at any craft store. And then we're going to be using large eyelets, which are about 1/4 inch in size. And the last thing we're going to use is plastic boning. So the first thing you want to do is to lay out your fabric on fold. So my fabric is folded right now, as you guys can see, selvage to selvage. And then you want to fold this again. So we're going to fold it twice basically. So then we have this folded, then we're going to go right ahead and actually pin this down. So you can use the pin to make sure that your fabric is folded appropriately and doesn't move. So the next thing we're going to do is to draw a nice straight line across our fabric. So you just want to get like a starting point for your corset. So I'm just drawing a nice straight line across the fabric. Now you want to make sure to figure out how wide you want your corset to be. So I wanted mine to be about 6 inches. So I just measured 6 inches from my previous line and marked that point. You want to make sure to have a nice 6-inch line going across. So I've marked the 6 inches, as you guys can see, and I'm just making sure to square out all my lines. Now when you have this, the next step is to figure out what your waist measurement or how wide you want your corset to be. So you want to take your waist measurement, subtract 1 inch from that, and then divide that measurement by 2, and then you're able to figure out how wide you actually want your corset to be. So let's say your waist is 28 inches, you want to subtract that by 1 inch, which is 27, and then divide by 2, which is going to be 13.5, and then you mark that out. So now I'm going ahead and actually measuring 1 inch down here and 1 inch up here. This is going to give us a nice curve in the front and back of our corset. And then the next step is to actually blend that 1 inch point all the way to this point. So I'm blending the 1 inch at the top and the bottom, and I'm blending all the way to a 0 point. So this is going to give us again like a nice curve at our back and our front corset. So when you have this, you're just going to go right ahead and add a ½ inch seam allowance only to the top and to the side. I'm not going to add a ½ inch seam allowance to the bottom of my corset because I do want it to have that distressed look. Now once you've done this, we're just going to go right ahead and actually cut this out from the fabric. Again, you want to make sure to follow that new line you created and not the old one. So once you have this all cut out, I also went ahead and actually cut out my interfacing. You only want to cut one piece from your interfacing and not two like we have for the main fabric. Now the next thing we're going to do is to actually attach the interfacing to one of our fabric pieces. So I just went ahead and actually pressed this on the iron, as you guys can see, and it glued really nicely to the fabric. So now we're going to go right ahead and actually attach these two pieces together. So you want to make sure to attach them only at the sides and the top. You want to make sure to not sew the bottom down. So I went ahead and actually attached this on the sewing machine, as you guys can see, and I've attached only the sides and the top. So you can go ahead and actually snip the corners here and there, and this is going to allow you to actually turn your fabric right sides out and give you a nice crisp point. So I went ahead and actually turned this out and also pressed this on the iron to give it a nice crisp point, and it lays really good. The next thing we're going to do is to actually attach the boning. Now this is super easy. You just want to make sure to fold the corset twice. So as you guys can see, I folded it in half one and I folded it again, and I'm just marking the points there. So when you have these points, this actually divides your corset evenly in half. So we have these points right now. This is where we're actually going to be attaching the boning. So now I have my boning. As you guys can see, I'm going ahead and actually marking the points inside of the interfacing part. I went ahead and actually attached the boning on the interfacing part because I felt like that was better for some reason. But now we're going to actually attach the boning on the interfacing part. So as you guys can see, I'm going ahead and actually folding the case over the actual boning so it doesn't poke through. So when you folded this over, you want to make sure to figure out how long you do want your boning to be, and then you can go ahead and actually cut it into the actual size. Now, one thing I do want you guys to also keep in mind is to make sure that the casing is actually covering both sides of the boning. Now also, you want to make sure that the bottom of the boning is not actually sitting at the edge of the fabric and should be placed about a ½ inch away from the edge of the fabric. So as you guys can see, I'm on the sewing machine right now and I'm stitching both sides of the boning. As you can see, it's also a ½ inch away from the edge of the bottom of my actual corset. So I'm just going ahead and actually stitching both sides of the boning down to the fabric. So you want to make sure to repeat this process to the other side of our marks as well. You want to have 2 strips of boning going down your corset, and it should look something like this when done. So after attaching both sides of the boning, now we're going to go ahead and actually top stitch our corset. So you want to make sure to top stitch from the 2 edges all the way at the top and to the other side as well. You want to make sure to not top stitch or touch the bottom of the corset at all. So now I'm just going on the sewing machine and I'm actually top stitching this at about a ½ inch. So you want to make sure to walk all your top stitching from one edge across the top all the way to the other edge. Now when you're doing this, sometimes your fabric is going to pull, so you want to make sure to just walk this as slow as you can. And as you guys can see by the boning part, I actually kind of just walked my machine and didn't really press it too hard. I just walked it a little bit on it so it doesn't actually break the needle. So when you're done, it should look something like this. It's crisp and nice. So the next thing we're going to do is to actually put in our appliques. Now, whatever appliques you get, you can get these from any craft store, and just any pretty patterns, badges, anything you can pretty much get from any craft store. You can place them however you want. Now to put these on, you just want to make sure to put a nice cloth over it and just press or steam over the applique, and it would glue really nicely to the fabric. You don't have to do anything really crazy. And then when you do this, then you can also go to the back of the fabric and also take your iron and press it nicely as well. Again, you don't want the iron to be too hot or too cold, and you want to make sure that it is actually sticking nice and neat. So when you've done this, you can pretty much put any of your appliques, however placement you want, however design, it's really up to you. So now that we've done this, the next thing we're going to do is to put in our eyelets. So the eyelets is super easy. I'm going ahead and actually putting 4 eyelets on my corset. You can put more, you can put less, depending on how long your corset actually is. So I'm just marking these 4 points and making sure to transfer them to the other side as well, so they're nice and even. So now we're going to go right ahead and actually prep for the process of putting in the eyelets. So I do have an eyelet kit already, but you can buy this again from any craft store, and it comes with the tools, as you guys see, and also 2 sizes of the eyelets, one that's longer and a shorter edge. So now we have this, we're going to go right ahead and actually punch holes at these marks. So I couldn't find my hole puncher for some reason, so I just decided to use a nice clip scissors to just clip a hole in it. Then you want to put the longer side of your eyelet in first. You want to put it over the black stool, and then you put the shorter side, take the anvil, and then you just hit it with a hammer. So again, it's the longer side first, and then the shorter side over it, and then just hit it with the hammer. So you want to make sure to repeat this process all throughout the points that you marked. So I went ahead and actually did all the eyelets at every point, as you guys can see. The next thing we're going to do now is to actually distress the bottom of our corset. So I did like the distress look, so all you really got to do is take a pair of tweezers or something and just, hack the hell out of your corset, making sure that it's nice and distressed. This is a process that does take a while, so you want to be extremely patient. Now, while you're working on that, you can also go and prepare the rope for your actual corset. So for the rope, you want to make sure to measure 2 inches wide of fabric and fold it twice and actually top stitch at the edge. You can make this as long or short as you want, but you want to make it long enough to actually create a nice corset. So I went ahead and actually distressed the bottom, and I also have my rope, which I folded twice again and top stitch the edge. At this point, you have your rope, you have your corset, and all you got to do is just feed in the string into the eyelet holes. As you guys can see, create whatever pattern you would like, a crisscross or however you tie your shoelaces really. You just want to make sure to repeat this process till you get to the end of the eyelet holes, and after that you can just create a really nice tie or a bow and your corset is practically done. For the edge of the strings, you can kind of burn that with a lighter if you choose, or you can leave it as is. That is the end of this tutorial. I do appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Like I said, it's going to be a great fall accessory, and I'm practically going to be wearing this thing every day. Maybe not every day, but I'm going to be wearing it a lot. So if you're interested in the whole denim and you would love to see more of my denim tutorials, I did actually link all my denim tutorials down below, because I mean, who doesn't like denim? Denim is amazing. So yeah, follow the link down below and you can check out all my other denim tutorials. But in the meantime, if you do like this video, please give this video a big thumbs up. Now, if you use this tutorial to make anything, the corset belt or any of my other tutorials, please make sure to tag me on all my social media platforms or Instagram at DamiaDinekX. I'm kind of excited to see your designs and how it's going to come out. So if you do have any questions or suggestions, please scroll down and leave me a couple of words. I'm definitely reading those as well. And one last thing, if you haven't hit the red subscribe button already, I'm not sure what you're doing, just make sure to scroll down and hit that button so you can be part of the SewAddicts family, which I feel like would be amazing, by the way. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope to catch you awesome SewAddicts next week.